We're approaching an anniversary, the 1 week anniversary of the Trump administration. And what a week it's been since Donald Trump stood on that stage looking out over, I'm not even going to suggest how many people, and outlined in very stark terms his vision for the United States. What's followed has been a steady stream of executive orders, basically undoing many of the basic tenets of President Obama's administration and programs that are near and dear to members of Massachusetts' all-Democratic congressional delegation. Two of those representatives, Katherine Clark and Michael Capuano, joined dozens of Democrats and boycotted the inaugural, a very visible slight to a man who's known to take notice of things like that and carry a grudge. Joining me is one of those boycotters, Congressman Capuano, represents Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, Chelsea, Everett, Winthrop?
No.
What'd I miss?
I wasn't listening. Randolph, Milton.
Whatever it is. Congressman, it's good to see you. You boycotted.
I don't like that word. I didn't boycott.
What did you do?
I just didn't go.
Well, you did boycott. What's the difference between what you did and boycott?
Boycott is a more proactive statement. That's not what I was doing. I just didn't think it was appropriate for me to go. More importantly, my district voted 84-12 for Hillary Clinton, and my constituents were pretty vocal about what they wanted me to do, so I spent the day with them instead of...
So you think he achieved, was there anything achieved by staying home with the constituents?
No, there was nothing intended to be achieved. It was simply, pomp and circumstance is not my thing, as I'm sure you know, number one. And number two is my constituents pretty clear. They wanted me to spend the day with them, so I did.
Do you worry about retaliation? I mean, this Green Line project, the good news was it was in this list of 50 infrastructure projects yesterday, so it's on the president's list. The bad news is it's also on your list. You, whatever you did on Inauguration Day, the governor of the state, who likes the project probably as much as you do now, didn't vote for the President of the United States. Do you worry about potential retaliation? No. Why not?
Because this project is not subject of retaliation, number one. Number two is... if there is retaliation from the White House against a member or a group of members of Congress, I will pretty much guarantee you that most of Congress will step up and defend those individuals. Because if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone.
Richard Nixon closed down a Navy Yard because Massachusetts didn't vote for him.
And what happened to Richard Nixon? So
you think he was impeached because he closed down the Navy Yard?
No, but he didn't gain any friends in the Congress to defend him. And Donald Trump, like all presidents, are going to want some friends. He's going to want to pick his fights. And this is not a fight. If he wants to pick one, that's his prerogative. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Let's talk about one he's picked and you've engaged on this fight. This is Donald Trump yesterday talking about his immigration orders.
Our order also does the following: ends the policy of catch and release at the border, requires other countries to take back their criminals. They will take them back. Cracks down on sanctuary cities.
Speaking of sanctuary cities, a lot of your district, obviously Boston, Cambridge, on and on, Chelsea, sanctuary cities. Do you worry about the president's threat? There's a lot of dough that comes in from the federal government to those communities.
It's not, the president alone can't do it. But I have said from day one, I have no doubt he will come to Congress, change a law, and get the votes in the House and the Senate to do exactly what he's trying to do here. This particular order doesn't do much. And I've told my mayors and my managers, there are 1,000 ways to skin a cat. All Sanctuary City is here is a policy on setting priorities of persecution and prosecution by our local police officers. I was on the city council in Somerville when we passed it back in the 80s. I will tell you that the biggest proponents of the policy were the police themselves.
No, I understand that.
They didn't want to spend all day. They didn't want to fill their jail cells.
But that obviously doesn't matter to Donald Trump.
Well, therefore, when we get there, repealing the ordinance and keeping the policy, what's the big deal? And I know some people don't want to do that and all that, but there's a lot of money at stake. And
so you're saying that ultimately you think cities and towns you would recommend to local leaders in your district that maybe they repeal the sanctuary city status?
Most of them are not by... No, that's not what I said.
What are you saying?
Somerville has an ordinance. Most communities don't. They are simply policies. You can't persecute somebody for a policy. For an ordinance, it's a written item. That's a different item. Number one. Number two is understand something. The Trump administration, if and when they get to that point, they're going to be looking for a fight. And if that's fine, but I have a responsibility to my constituents, and I'll leave the others to what they are. I don't think that any city should be risking fuel assistance, school lunches, HUD money, public housing money, Section 8 money, and on and on and on.
So you are saying what I said a minute ago?
No, what I'm saying is that there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. You can have the policy without having to stick your thumb in somebody's eye, and then you can argue, well, if my police officers choose not to enforce this particular item, you can't make them. You can't make them stop every speeder. You can't make them arrest every litterer.
Is there one thing that's happening this week that Donald Trump has done that concerns you more than others? Can you rank
What just happened today?
What's that?
The complete gutting of the State Department. My understanding, I haven't got the details. My understanding is it's the entire top echelon of the State Department, all professionals,
He's
not
asked them to
political
leave.
appointees. He's asked several to leave. The others have left on their own.
Why does that concern you?
A State Department without any institutional knowledge, or any department, but the State Department in particular, scares the heck out of me.
You know, I would not have asked you this question a couple days ago had not a bunch of major newspapers in the United States, including the Globe editorial page, referred to Donald Trump as unhinged. Do you worry at all? I know you're not a shrink. Do you worry at all about his mental stability?
No, I don't. Again, what my concern is the direction of the country. And motivation, reasons, I don't really care.
Why don't you motivation? Let me give you an example that maybe you can explain in a different way, and I've become fairly obsessed with this. To my knowledge, he's practically the only adult in the United States in a position of power who believes that 3 million people here illegally voted, which is why he was denied the popular vote. Is it fair to call that delusional?
From what I see, sure.
So if that's delusional, why should we not worry that he's going to not read another fake news story on Infowars.com and act upon that? Why should we not worry about that?
I didn't vote for him. I don't know many people who did, and that was that was, for me, the major reason. I could itemize individual things. But
What's the major reason?
That I'm concerned about his reaction in a public sense, in a real sense, on issues on the basis of non-factual information. We'll find out.
You don't think that reflects on the mental stability or whatever else?
I'm not qualified to say that.
Okay, Obamacare. Here is the president, shortly before he was the president, talking about his intentions.
It'll be repeal and replace. It will be essentially simultaneously. It will be various segments, you understand, but will most likely be on the same day or the same week, but probably the same day. Could be the same hour.
My analysis of this is he is more a friend to those of you who believe in the Affordable Care Act than your fellow Republicans are in the House.
Could be. Again, this is part of the problem that I have with Donald Trump. I don't know which one I'm going to get. I understand. I know Mike Pence, and I know that Mike Pence is a hard, right, deep conservative. If he were president, I'd have no doubt what he would do. He's just simply out repeal it. Trump, I just don't know. We'll find out. And I think it's like on the health care item and many items, for the first time in my life, I've actually seen the dog catch the bus. You got it. What are you going to do with it? And health care is the.
You mean their promise
example.
to repeal it, and now they have the power, and what do they do?
They've never had a proposal on replacing it, and they have a lot of things in that bill that a lot of people don't even know are in the ACA. That if they repeal it, they will hear a lot of screaming from their own constituents.
Do you think the Women's March is ultimately going to have any impact on public policy in this country?
One march won't. I mean, I hope it has ignited a spark of more active involvement by people who see the world more like I do.
Did you ultimately not vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House?
That's none of your business. Oh, I voted for Nancy.
Yeah, you did vote for Nancy.
On the floor of the House, sure.
She is an older woman from San Francisco, an older man from, and I don't mean to be ageist, but it is what it is, from Brooklyn, not exactly Rust Belt kinds of states, are now the titular leaders of your party. Are they the ones to lead you out of the wilderness?
It's not the point. The point is they're there. I mean, and honestly, the party leaders are supposed to also listen. And if they don't listen to the base, they're going to be pushed out.
But they're the face. Forget the base. They're the face of the party to America. Are they the right face?
You don't see them on TV all that often, number one.
Who is the face of the party?
I don't know that we have one yet. And we will have
one. Does that concern you?
No.
Do Democrats have a strategy? Is there a plan to...
Apparently you don't know any Democrats, because Democrats have never had a good strategy. We are the cats. They are the dogs. We go all over the place. And so, no, we don't have a strong strategy. We have strong principles that I think we generally share. And we're going to struggle within the family on how to define those, how to talk about them. Not to change what we believe in, but to discuss it with people so they can hear us.
Congressman, it's good to see you.
Jim, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Congressman Capuano.